Most people think they're losing the wealth game because they don't make enough money. They're wrong. They're losing it because of small, almost invisible decisions they make every single day. Decisions so ordinary they don't even feel like decisions at all. I'm Henry, and if you've been following this channel, you already know I don't do motivation speeches. I do frameworks. Mental models. The kind of thinking that actually moves the needle on your financial life. So if this is your first time here, hit subscribe, because what we do here is different. And what I'm about to walk you through today changed how I see money at a fundamental level. These aren't 9 habits. They're not productivity tips. They're 9 decision points, moments that most people walk through completely unconscious, that quietly determine whether you spend your life building wealth or just managing debt. And the dangerous thing? None of them feel important when you're making them. Let me start with the one that hit me hardest personally. For years, I thought the people around me who were financially ahead of me were just lucky. Better jobs, better timing, maybe better families. And then I had a conversation with someone I deeply respected, a man who had built real, lasting financial security from almost nothing, and he said something I didn't fully understand until much later. He said, "Henry, every rich person I know decided once. Every poor person I know decides over and over again." What he meant was this: wealthy people make a decision to live below their means, to automate savings, to not buy the car just because they can, and then they stop deciding. The decision is made. The poor person makes that same decision Monday morning and breaks it by Thursday night. The first decision costs you nothing. Every repeated decision costs you energy, willpower, and eventually, money. That's decision 1, decide once, then protect the decision. The wealthy don't have more willpower. They've just removed the need to use it. Now here's where it gets strange. Because most people think financial discipline is about saying no to things. But the second decision is actually about what you say yes to, specifically, saying yes to being bored with your money. The desire for financial excitement is one of the most expensive psychological traps that exists. I've watched people lose real money chasing the thrill of the right investment at the right moment. I've done it myself. The truth is, boring portfolios built on consistent decisions outperform exciting ones almost every time. Wealth is built in the spaces where nothing interesting is happening. The third decision is one most people make without realizing it. It's the decision about who you financially compare yourself to. Here's what I've observed in my own life. The moment I started unconsciously benchmarking my lifestyle against neighbors, colleagues, or people I saw online, my spending started quietly expanding to meet that invisible standard. This is called lifestyle calibration. And it's silent. You don't decide to spend more. You just slowly raise your baseline for what feels normal. The people winning financially have chosen their comparison group carefully, or they've opted out of comparison entirely. The fourth decision sounds too simple to matter, but statistically it's enormous. It's the decision to automate before you feel it. Most people save what's left after spending. The wealthy spend what's left after saving. That one reordering, automatic transfers the day your paycheck hits, before you see that money as spendable, creates a completely different financial trajectory over a decade. Not because of the math. Because of the psychology. Money you never see doesn't feel like sacrifice. Now we're getting into the territory that most finance content completely ignores. The fifth decision is about your relationship with financial discomfort. There is a moment in every financially transformative situation, a market dip, a slow business month, an investment that's down, where the uncomfortable decision and the right decision are the same decision. But we're wired to relieve discomfort quickly. The people who build wealth have trained themselves to pause inside discomfort, to ask whether the uncomfortable thing is actually dangerous or just unfamiliar. That pause is worth more than any stock pick. The sixth decision is the one I made too late, and I want to be honest about that. It's the decision about what kind of problem you're willing to learn to solve. Early in my financial journey, I outsourced every difficult financial question. I didn't understand investing, so I handed it to someone else. I didn't understand taxes, so I just paid whatever I was told. The people who compound wealth aren't necessarily doing everything themselves, but they understand enough to ask the right questions. Financial literacy isn't about becoming an expert. It's about not being ignorant at the exact moment it costs you most. The seventh decision is invisible to most people because it hides inside a feeling of ambition. It's the decision about when to spend on upgrading your life versus when that upgrade is actually a liability dressed up as a reward. I've seen people buy the house that stretched their income just as they were gaining real financial momentum, and watch that momentum stall for years. Every reward spending decision needs to pass one simple test before you make it. Does this purchase expand my financial options, or does it narrow them? That question alone has saved me more than any budget spreadsheet. The eighth decision might be the most emotionally charged one on this list. It's the decision about how you handle financial failure. I have failed financially. I've made bets that didn't work. I've had months where I questioned every decision I made. And the difference between people who recover and people who don't almost never comes down to the severity of the failure. It comes down to whether the failure becomes a lesson or an identity. The moment you say, "I'm just bad with money," you've made a decision. And it's the most expensive decision on this list. The ninth and final decision is the one that connects all the others. It's the decision to play a longer game than feels natural. Human psychology is built for short time horizons. Our brains reward us for immediate results and punish us for delayed gratification with anxiety and restlessness. But wealth, real, lasting, quietly powerful wealth, is almost entirely a function of time multiplied by consistent behavior. The people who build it aren't superhuman. They've just decided, once, that they're not in a hurry. And then they let that decision do the heavy lifting for years. Here's what I want to leave you with. None of these 9 decisions involves a strategy or a secret. None of them require you to earn more tomorrow than you did today. They require something harder, a shift in how you think, how you perceive the ordinary moments of your financial life, and who you decide to become through the small, invisible choices that nobody else sees. The financial life you want isn't built in one dramatic moment. It's built in the quiet accumulation of these micro-decisions made slightly more wisely over a slightly longer period than average. If this changed something in the way you think about money, I'd love for you to subscribe and stay in this conversation. Because this is just the beginning. There's a lot more where this came from, and the ideas only get more useful from here.